Welcome to the BlockTalk Africa show powered by Binance. My name is Mumo. I'm your host for the show. This is your home for all things crypto, blockchain, and the future of money. If you don't yet have a Binance account, this is what you need to do. Go to Binance.com and use the referral code KISSFM to sign up today. And I have a gift for you for the first 500 of you who sign up on Binance this week using that code. You'll have 100 shillings in your spot wallet. And follow us on all our social media platforms at Binance Africa. And as we get into the episode of today we are going to talk about crypto payments and adoption in Africa. Last week, we talked about using crypto in everyday life, and we have a special guest who's a returning guest who's going to tell us more about the stories he's had and what is actually happening in the space. So, tell us who you are and what do you do?
Yes, so my name is David Gitonga.
Yeah.
I run a media outlet called BitcoinKE, BitcoinKE .io on the website. So what we do is we cover stories on blockchain and crypto and Web3 across Africa. We highlight projects, startups, initiatives that are either leveraging Bitcoin or using crypto in one way or another. So that's so we are very industry specific.
Awesome. Our crypto tip of the week is, did you know that Africa and African countries like Nigeria and Kenya have some of the highest peer-to-peer trading volumes in the world? That means that there are so many people who are using crypto from person to person in these countries. What do you think is the barrier that exists to crypto being known by the person that if I meet this person, they know about crypto, and it becomes almost mainstream in Kenya and in Africa?
Yeah, so education, awareness,
Yes.
I think remains the biggest hindrance. And I'll give you an example from our coverage. Most people who reach out to us, or the most viewed pieces of content are or remain the basics of Bitcoin 101. Yeah, because at the end of the day, I feel like if people do not have that foundation, strong foundation, it will be difficult to scale or to understand other aspects of this industry. Unless you have a very strong foundational understanding of the ecosystem, then most people are unable to proceed beyond the basics. So I say it's very understandable why that remains the most sought after type of content. Yeah.
Okay. And we have some countries that, of course, it's not very adopted everywhere, but we have some countries that are a little ahead of others. Tell us a few stories around which countries these are, and probably what are the reasons why they've been able to go ahead of others in the continent.
Yeah, so there are three main countries that we generally tend to cover, and that are most popular. This is Nigeria, South Africa, and Kenya. So those are the countries with the largest number of users or people who are aware. But there are also other countries, I would say, that we are not quite, we do not know much about them, but you can see there's massive adoption. So North African countries, so Tunisia, Morocco, Egypt, there's a huge, we tend to see a lot of people using crypto, a lot of startups in the Web3 space getting a lot of users. I remember actually, was it 2-3 years ago, Binance, we were not even aware of this until Binance highlighted some numbers from Libya when they were doing some airdrops for some humanitarian work. And I think they talked about almost 600, 700,000. So those countries have quite a lot of users. It's just that because they're Arab speaking, we don't get to hear much about that. Yeah.
One of the things that really tugs at my heart is around education. And as you've mentioned, that's one of the biggest gaps that exists for adoption. Are there programs or initiatives that you've seen which, if many countries actually replicate, can actually speed up adoption on the continent?
Yeah, so education obviously remains. So I would actually approach it from an educational aspect.
Yeah.
How do you approach education? Because we know that we have 54 countries in Africa with different cultures, different approaches. What works here might not work in another country.
Precisely.
So if you look at Kenya, for example, a lot of people want to learn about crypto through an event.
Yes.
You know, if you hold an event, Kenyans will come
Yes.
and they will learn about Bitcoin. In other markets, as I understand, people are not too eager to attend, an event.
Yeah.
So I've found that events work for Kenya.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, even today, if you market an event really well, it's going to be packed.
Yeah. A Binance feature of the week is Binance P2P. P2P stands for peer-to-peer. This is a section on the Binance wallet where you can be able to buy and sell cryptocurrencies with someone else who is in your country. That is why they are called a peer. On this particular wallet, you will find traders and merchants who are higher level traders who you can be able to buy and sell crypto to and from. And in Kenya, you can be able to buy USDT, Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, and as well FDUSD. You are able to send money either to their mobile money wallet or to their bank accounts, and in exchange, you get crypto. I want to move a little on, in terms of adoption. Are there countries in Africa, especially on an executive or a government level, that are positive and embracing crypto? And I know there are so many stories that you probably have covered, but I would love to know what progress we are making on that level.
Yeah, so I would say a lot of that progress has happened over the last few years. I would almost say in the last 3-4 years.
Yeah.
So a lot of the regulation. So I'll list the countries that seem to be quite receptive. So there's Nigeria, there's South Africa, and now recently there's Kenya.
Yeah.
We've also seen a country like Botswana, regulating certain aspects of the industry.
Yeah.
And then there are other countries now that are talking about it.
Yes.
But if you zero in on regulation in Nigeria and South Africa, you'll see the regulation is more detailed. And even the current one that's about to go through in Kenya, you'll see that these governments have looked at crypto in different ways.
Yeah.
One of them is from a consumer protection aspect. So you find that the way they're crafting or they're looking at the regulation is, if we open up the space to the users, what are the risks, right? I remember these countries have been there before.
Yes.
With things like Forex and other opportunities that have come up. So they've seen the good and the bad side. So they're looking at consumer protection. They're also looking at how do we, enable innovation.
Yeah.
Because if we don't do that, we'll be left behind. We'll be left, the dot-com bubble.
Yes.
Remember what happened?
Yeah.
And we are seeing the costs. So they're also cognizant of that fact.
Yeah.
So that's how they are looking at innovation, but they're also cautious, and it's quite understandable because you make a small mistake and the problem can be catastrophic. People can lose, their entire life savings and a lot of other bad things. Yeah.
And I like the fact that we as Kenya, I say we as Kenya, we are and we have been talking about regulation, because I look at regulation in a different way than what most people look at it. If we do not completely have regulation, we will not have adoption, because there are people who will say, so what do I do in this particular case? And like you're saying around consumer protection, it's I can be able to come in and say, I will invest in this industry because the law says A, B, C, D. And I love the fact that we are having all this regulation, because that's when institutions will also come in. And there are so many people who will get into the space because Bank A said,
Correct.
we are now adopting this. And those are the people that we really want to come in. Our grandfathers, our grandmothers, they'll never really use crypto until they see, oh, my mobile money company is saying they now accept crypto. So that's when they will actually use it. And I want to know from you, because you've covered good stories and horror stories, for lack of a better word. What are some of the risks that you've seen, especially in this particular space in Africa?
So, recently we've seen some horrendous stories, unfortunately, and a lot of them have to do with scams. Just recently there was a scam. It's still going around. Figures are saying Nigerians and Kenyans have lost close to $800 million. That's a lot of money.
It is.
There are people I have seen who've lost money from that scam, who've lost their entire savings. A couple of years ago, people would reach out to us and they would tell us, hey, I invested in this Bitcoin mining project. Now I'm going to their website. I don't know what's happening. Can you help me? So people actually used to reach out to us. And we used to wonder, how can we tell you you've lost your money? It's gone. I remember one retired teacher who'd put money. I think it was a crypto scam, and they lost all their savings. So these stories are unfortunately common, more common than we think. I remember at one time the Kenya government said in 1 year Kenyans had lost about $120 million. If you do the math, that's a lot of money. That's money lost, gone. So I would say that is the biggest challenge with this ecosystem. And I would say that is one of the problems that hopefully regulation can solve. Because once you limit the number of players, or you have very strict guidelines on the players, we might see a reduction in some of these cases. Remember, a lot of these scams take place through advertisements. Now, public advertisements, WhatsApp, Facebook. So if there is a way we can sort of assist people not get scammed, I think it would also build credibility to the ecosystem.
If a company comes to you and tells you they're going to pay you a particular percentage, that means that they are doing an economic activity that is making them more than they are going to give you, and you need to find out what that is. You'd rather invest in that than invest in them. And so if someone comes and tells you you're going to make 10% per month guaranteed, you're going to make 30% per month guaranteed, what are they doing? How smart are they that they're the only ones who know how to make money in this economy? That everyone else does not know. And the worst part for them is usually they come to you after. They don't come
Yes.
to you before they invested. They were like,
Correct.
we need to do this very quickly before people find out. And then they now come crying, okay, I invested here. Like I was still available. My DMs were still open before you made this investment. And those are some of the things that, of course, also put a bad name on the industry. Of course, I know scams exist in every single industry. And having such scams in the crypto space really slows things down. And I want to shift a little onto how mobile money, because mobile money is really huge in Africa. How does crypto compare with mobile money? And are there advantages of using crypto and not mobile money?
So I would approach that based on jurisdiction. Because I'll give you an example. With Kenya, mobile money has been heavily integrated into our lives. And you can pretty much use M-Pesa anywhere. M-Pesa is a verb, right? So now Kenya is very different to other markets. I know a market like Nigeria is not mobile heavy. And so the appeal for crypto would be very different, or a use for crypto would be quite different. So I'm talking about how do you use crypto? Is it to buy for retail, or is it as a savings tool or product? So you'll find that different markets, based on that, approach crypto quite different. But generally, I would say crypto is more versatile. If everything is, if all things are equal, I would say crypto would beat mobile money. But unfortunately, we don't live in that world. Mobile money now is more penetrated. There are more players. There are more people willing to accept mobile. There's more trust. There's government backing behind it. And I would say because of that, currently, mobile money is a more preferred, mode of payment. If that will change, I'm not sure. How fast that will change, I'm not sure. But I always tell people this: if you go into a market and you introduce mobile money and crypto at the same time, I can almost guarantee you crypto would get faster adoption than mobile money. So I would say, and we cannot really compare it in a market where mobile money is already penetrated.
I like that analogy, because if you put them on a same pedestal, of course, crypto will win. There are so many advantages that are not there on mobile money. And if we are going to get crypto to replace mobile money, it will take some time. Just the same way that mobile money took time before we even accepted it, there will be some time that will be taken. And I think that would be a great place to say thank you very much for coming on to the show. We were talking about adoption, crypto for payments. That has been our show of the week, and a huge thanks to David of BitcoinKE for helping us understand the adoption rates in Africa. Next week, we are going to talk about understanding blockchain and its uses. We have a special brand new guest who's coming to help us a lot on that. If you don't yet have a Binance account, make sure to go onto Binance.com, use the referral code KISSFM. And if you're among the first 500 people that are going to use that link, you'll get 100 shillings in your spot wallet. My name is Momo. That's our show of the week. See you on the next episode.
Audio.